This is the Iowa Weather Report for Thursday, January 21st, 2016. And now our first look at the 0Z GFS Model Run at noon today. Deep trough digging in across the middle part of the country, especially in the central and southern plains. That's the beginning of a fairly decent storm system that's going to rake the south, the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and parts of the New England states. But around here, it's only going to bring a little bit of precipitation. That's with a totally different disturbance. Could bring a dusting to maybe a half an inch or a bit more in our northern and maybe our western counties mainly. Cloudy everywhere else with highs mainly in the 20s. That system really moves over across the south here as we move into Friday. Some rain, snow, maybe some thunderstorms, but around here it's just cool, a couple of degrees cooler on Friday, but still partly to mostly sunny skies as the sun does reappear. Then that system begins to run up the coast here as we move into the weekend, but around here it's just quiet and barren between a storm out to the west and that big storm moving out into the North Atlantic. So we go into Sunday. The system over the east begins to move away. Could still see some snow in southern New England back to about New York or Philadelphia. Temperatures start to warm a bit around here as the winds turn south and southwesterly ahead of another system that moves in as we move into late Sunday and into Monday. And this could bring a little bit of snow activity here late Sunday, mainly into Monday. We'll see what the amounts are. It's still too early to determine that at this point, but it looks to be somewhat weak compared to the system that's going to be in the east this weekend. That moves off to the east as we move into Tuesday. Cold air comes back in, and we could see some cool readings Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday looks to be somewhat chilly, at least for this time of the year as we head toward the end of January. And then here on Wednesday, you can see a lot of the precipitation across the Great Lakes, the southeast, the Gulf Coast, and across the Pacific Northwest as well. You can see the flow coming out of the north and west, digging in a trough across the east. That means our flow with it coming out of the northwest is going to keep us somewhat cooler than seasonal levels, but some warmer air trying to pump in ahead of this clipper system that dives in by next Thursday. So with these clipper systems, they're very fickle, and especially when we're looking a week out, it's very hard to discern at this point. Going into the extended period, February 1st, caucus night. And this is not what people want to see on caucus night. A big storm trying to develop over the middle part of the country. With this, remember, this is model data. Don't count this as a forecast. But this is the second day we've seen this on the model run for caucus night. It's further south and a little further to the southwest than it was yesterday, but it is something we're going to have to keep an eye on, and so will a lot of other people as well. And then going into the further into the period, into the 5th of February, decent storm system developing off the Carolina coast. Another system dropping into the west. Will be between storms and will be somewhat seasonal to seasonally cool. And that is not a storm system you want to see either, because that looks exactly like the storm we may see this weekend out east, but this is more than 2 weeks out. It's not a forecast, it's just model data. It'll likely change. This is what is changing. The satellite image from last evening. There's the storm developing over the middle part of the country. You can see the comma head over with the cloudiness over the middle part of the country. Another storm just off the west coast. You can see the tropical flow coming in from the Gulf of Mexico into Florida. Look at the watches, warnings, advisories all across the mid-Atlantic, back into the Tennessee, Ohio River Valley, and back into the plains. Elsewhere across the country, it's quiet at this point. But the QPF chart, it doesn't show it being quiet. This is precipitation through Monday evening at 6 o'clock. A lot of it across the south, the east, and up to the mid-Atlantic, southern New England. A little bit around here, maybe about 1/10 of an inch, and also some heavy precipitation out west.